Part 4. Hello again. This is the final video on the hero's journey, and we are still on the part called Beautifully Unique Individuality. You learned about a safety bubble. How's that going for you? If you have not built one and existed in one, best to get on that before watching this video, because I'm going to expand on that safety bubble now. Your bubble had a couple of screens, one of which was yours. What if your internal screen was the entire inside of the bubble, the lining, not just the screen in front of you, but an entire 360-degree IMAX all around within you? This vast expanse behind your eyelids, that space within your head. These can be a place in which all of your senses are heightened, especially senses that have to do with knowing and understanding without having to see, touch, or hear. This space is your status quo, your internal. This is you. So claim the space. If you want, you could pause this and explore that for a second. Then, how might the external screen change? Perhaps now the external, some external situation, might be asking for your attention and maybe some time and effort. How might the external show up for you now? Be curious about anything from the external that begins to enter what you call your field of vision. Let's play around with this. Perhaps some atmosphere in your head condenses into a cloud and appears and grows like a thought in your mind of some external thing. What if there is a breach in your safety bubble and a black speck appears on it and grows and takes shape into something external? And what might happen if that external thing grows larger and larger and larger until it takes up a significant part of your interior? At this point, you become fixated on it. You may have noticed this before in your own thought process, something that you cannot stop thinking about as much as you want to stop thinking about it. It's still there. The next time that happens, take out your dry board eraser and start erasing the edges and shrinking it down. Remove parts of it, the parts that hold the most charge for you, or put it on an Etch-a-Sketch and turn it upside down and shake it. I like that one because it's kinesthetic. Really shake it. Or put your hands on either side of it and press and press and compress it down to the size of a magazine, then compress it more to the size of a cell phone, then compress it down to the size of a postage stamp, etc. These are all things you can do in your mind with externals that you begin to notice. If I immediately notice some external that I do not want on my 360 screen, I hit my delete button, saying delete out loud or in my mind. If you are uncertain about some external, with this new setup, you can suspend it and then go all the way around it to better examine it. You could enclose it in a hard as possible plexiglass box or any shape to render it harmless. It is easy to connect with your truth by any of these manipulations. And you thought manipulating was bad, right? Not when it is used by you for yourself. Not when you change things to customize your internal. Not when you are on a mission to find your truth. This is how you can get a handle on knowing yourself, knowing what you want, manifesting it, and letting go of non-importance. Okay, let's move on to the criteria for your truth found on your screen within your safety bubble, all of which you've created and customized for yourself. Oh, wait. Perhaps I can reunite you with things that appear on the external that are best mitigated with this new process you are incorporating into your way of being, maybe. I'll just read off the best situations for learning, practicing, and employing this process. Again, in hindsight or real time. Use this when you are feeling or being disrespected, criticized, misrepresented, or misunderstood, at the mercy of someone's persuasion or influence, pressured, bullied, or manipulated, when you are feeling that something or someone is not good, honest, authentic, or congruent, held hostage emotionally, forced or coerced into a decision, when you're feeling at risk in some way, shape, or form, or just uncertain about something or someone, or desirous to more fully connect with yourself. Enough said? Okay, back to authoring or anchoring your truth on your internal. If your internal does not meet any of these criteria, simply adjust your internal truth so that it does fit the criteria. Your internal shall be positive in the present moment and apply to the particular person, place, thing, or situation involved at the moment. This means that your internal will change in each moment and is your authentic status in the now. Your internal reflects only yourself. It is what feels true for you, often feeling like a deep and calm inner knowing. Internal is not so much in your mind or head. Your heart tracks the truth. Your head will track the criteria. It's a great team. You may simply feel it. There's no need to put your truth, your internal, into words. In fact, sometimes it's best not to edit it in order to contain or explain it. Your internal contains only your intent, wishes, desires, feelings, thoughts, knowledge, opinions, and perspective. It is never influenced by any external influence, which includes others' ideas, views, opinions, attitudes, rules, expressed feelings, actions, etc. This is the hard one. External can be quite insidious, sneaky, in fact. Your internal contains zero, nada judgment of yourself or someone else. You will get better at this. As your internal becomes more apparent, it will further define and refine you without judgment. Your internal aligns with and reflects your identity, contains your values, and reflects your abilities and behavior. Where have you heard these before? Maybe you should go back and watch neurologic levels. So your internal is gender neutral, allowing you to live first and foremost as an individual before identifying with a gender or orientation. Your purest internal is found in the top neurologic level, coming from your sense of oneness with whatever your word was for it. God, source, creator, universe, whatever. And finally, here are some samples for some language you can use in various situations. Situations meaning how your internal compares with external. You can not respond to the external or the person involved in the external. You can just smile and walk away. Again, though, be aware of the positive negative impact, as no response can be read as and feel like rejection and disrespect. Give me a minute. You could say this after you've given yourself permission to take all the time you need. You could say, let me get back to you on that. Same thing, ditto on the permission to take time. You could say, I need some distance or space here to consider things. Ah, you gave yourself permission to ask for space. Excellent. Space is the place for connection and relationship, you might find. You could say, I feel, insert how you feel, or my truth is. That's always a nice one, my truth is, and express your truth. So here is a scenario to contemplate around these two. A child says, I'm scared. If the parent says there's nothing to be afraid of, they are negating that child's reality and truth. It happens all the time, right? The truth is, that does not change that child's truth. It does not change the fact that that child was afraid. The truth is, no one can negate your reality and truth. They simply don't know how to validate you and join sides with you to offer support or assistance or acceptance. And if that's the case, then it might be best to educate them or walk away. Most of the time, though, when an adult expresses their truth, the receiver accepts it whether or not they understand it. Some may try to argue or convince you of something else, and you can continue to stay true to finding your evolving truth, because remember, it changes moment to moment. It's okay. You could say, "Here is what I want to say, and I ask that you respect it as my truth." This would be a good preface to someone who likes to argue or convince. You could say, "There is a little truth to what you are saying, which I may consider." This would be greatly satisfying to hear, wouldn't it? You could say, "There's a little truth to what you are saying, but mostly it does not fit me." This is a nice soft proclamation. It's clear, concise, inarguable. You could say, "Thanks for pointing that out to me. I appreciate your sharing." This is kind of sweet. You could say, "That contains useful information for me." Again, not only sweet, but pretty satisfying. You could say, "Thanks for your time on the matter. I will consider it." This is satisfying, but also suggestive of non-agreement. You can say, "This is useful information. I'd love to talk more about this." To that I say, I think a friendship is on the horizon. And now you are free to move on to the next section on 6 parts. We will have a parts party, so I'll see you there.